Hauling heavy dining cars over the mountain passes in the early years presented a problem, particularly on the Big Hill with its 4.5% grade. It would have required adding an additional locomotive with associated expenses. A helper locomotive consumed approximately 2,500 pounds of coal and 1,500 gallons of water for one round trip on the Big Hill. The Canadian Pacific Railway solved this problem by building 3 hotels: Mount Stephen House at Field in the Rockies, Glacier House at Rogers Pass in the Selkirks, and Fraser Canyon House at North Bend in the Fraser River Valley north of Vancouver. Mount Stephen House opened in the fall of 1886, but the other 2 were not ready until the following year. In the interim, dining cars were parked on a siding next to the hotels. Trains stopped long enough for passengers to have a meal and a short walk. Regular servicing and crew changes were also performed at Field and North Bend. Passengers traveling westbound on the Pacific Express had breakfast at Mount Stephen House, lunch at Glacier House, and supper at the Fraser Canyon House. For eastbound passengers on the Atlantic Express, the opposite occurred. The opening up of the Rocky and the Selkirk mountain ranges with the building of the railway brought tourists from around the world. Mount Stephen House was originally built as just a dining room, but soon expanded to offer overnight accommodation. It was added onto yearly, and by 1908, it could accommodate 8,443 guests. The Canadian Pacific Railway promoted tourism and hired Swiss mountain guides to take tourists hiking and mountain climbing in the summer months. The Canadian Pacific Railway also promoted the establishment of nature reserves and national parks. Mount Stephen Reserve was established in 1886, then renamed Yoho National Park in 1901. Much of the Canadian Pacific Railway mountain subdivision passes through national parks, and thus much of the land adjacent to the tracks remains in its scenic natural state today.